So what you want me to start by saying, well, I was born in the village here. Well,
So
village
that's the thing we want to know. Where were you born?
So, well, I'm telling you now.
Sorry.
Born in the village in Exeter Road, 1935. The coronation year, or the abdication year anyway, one of the two. Well, apparently, telling you the truth, what happened was when I was born, the doctor, old Dr. Miller, turned round to my grandmother. He said, don't bother about him very much. He said, we're going to forget him and save the mother. All right?
Right.
And so anyway, they saved my mother, obviously, because she went on. And when he came down the kitchen, Granny had me sort of nurse. He said, I don't know, Mrs. Bovey, I don't know what you're worried about there. He said, he won't last long. And my grandmother said, yes, he will, Dr. Miller. She said, when I was holding him, he suddenly gripped my finger and said, he squeezed my finger.
Right.
So there is life.
Yeah, well, my name's Mr. Lowe. They all call me Lowe, sir. I was born in Martuck, the 2nd of the 2nd, 41. So I'm 81, coming up to 82. And we are sat in the Rose and Crown, Eli's. I've been in this pub here now drinking for 68 years. I've had my own business. I had a garage in Long Sutton. I had that for about 14 years. And then somebody come and bought it. And then I still started doing cars. I done cars right up till I was about 70 years old. And then I retired. And since then I've just been playing golf. And I played golf so bad that I stopped playing. So now I just come over Relo's here and have a drink with the boys. And it's lovely.
I was brought up on Atherley Farm, Bovey Tracy. And I went to school in Bovey Tracy. Then I went to Newton Grammar School. I was no good at school. I was good at making excuses for not going. I left as soon as I could during the war. I was always home on the farm. I was driving tractors at the age of 11 on the farm, an old standard Fordson with iron wheels on. Then Father sold that one and bought a Alice Chalmers WF and a plough, a Lister Cockshut plough. I remember the plough. And in 1938, I won a prize at Sealing College. I came down here to live, farmed here, bought 1 or 2 farms around here, and I'm still at Bradley Barton. And I've farmed it all my life. I've done corn, bullocks, sheep, but no milking.
But I remember once I was on the Southern Cross and we were visiting Panama, and I went ashore with a bloke called George Redhead, come from Cornwall way, ex-submariner, and he wasn't very big, but when he talked to you, he looked at your throat. But we hit it off. We hit it off very well. And we went in this pub and it reminded me so much of like a Western film. Swing open doors and the bar up on the left there, packed with people, all Spanish speaking, like. And this bloke come up to us, he had like a crutch or something, he's all dark haired and he looked like a bloody Mexican bandit in these cowboy films. And he come up to us all fierce and said, Americano! This is all a stunt, this was. Americano! And we said, no, English. English, all this bollocks, all friendly. And then he said he persuaded us into, if we gave him a silver dollar, he could go out and get some beer cheap. Well, he went out and didn't come back. And we and George just left the pub, and we always called him after the silver dollar kid. But we did go back in the pub an hour or so later, not looking for him, it'd been too dangerous. But he, if I remember right, he saw us coming and buggered off quick. The silver dollar kid, we always called him that, yeah. The silver dollar kid. Americano? No. We used to laugh about that on the way back to the ship. The silver dollar kid, yeah. Poor bugger, he didn't have much going for him. Not really, no.
David Tipper was our headmaster, who I mentioned just now, David Tipper. Some days I was always first out of school. When it come the end of the day, afternoon, but if he came to the end of his syllabus a bit early, what he wanted to preach and whatever, he used to be about 20 minutes early. And he would write, he said, I'll call out some numbers. The first one to answer, leave school early. So he'd call out a huge list of numbers. It was either numbers or pounds, shillings and pence. And I was always the first one walking down the streets. I was good at mental arithmetic. I was always, he used to call it these numbers. They used to say, oh, Dick Russell, that mental arithmetic. That was one of his tricks. But another one, no messing, he was firm. One day, me in the bird's nesting time, my mate Morris Andrews, going to school, we used to go to school and back together. We used to walk across one field to the Rectory Lodge, one field, and you're in school. Anyway, we got up the top of the field in the hedge, there was a bird's nest there. Morris climbed up to the bird's nest. It was a bit thorny, the edge, and not easy to descend. As he came down, he ripped his trousers, not short trousers, and ripped his trousers open. So he said, I can't go to school, I gotta go home and get them mended. So like a mug, I went home with him. We got back to school about an hour and a half. Mother went down, mother sewed him up. He didn't have another pair to put on. We weren't that well off those days. Sewed his trousers up, went back to school. Got in school, Mr. Tipper was waiting. Right, where have you been, said Morris, he said. Oh, please, sir, I was climbing up the hedge to a bird's nest and coming down and I slipped and... Oh, and he said to me, and where have you been? I said, well, I was with Morris and I went back with him to have I went home with him to have his trousers repaired. You blithering idiot, I suppose if he jumped in a well, you'd jump after him. Up in front, and he had a big long strap, tapered leather strap, bend over, 3 scats on ass each. That was good, that was the way to do it. That's what he wanted to do, if he can't.
Yeah, he had a 3-wheeler Reliant and a 4-wheeler thing, and we used to say, because those days the rum was going, I'm going back now in the 50s, but no, 60s, 70s. And with the big depot ship down on there, HMS at the Adamant. And then, of course, in the chief's messes, you had beer on draft in the chief's mess. And you'd be drinking this Red Barrel that's gone by the board now. Anyway.
What needs Red Barrel?
Red Barrel. And on a Saturday, and you'd only had a weekend from lunchtime Saturday, none of this bloody going home. You had occasional long weekend on a Friday. Yeah. But a weekend on, normally it was from Saturday lunchtime till 8 o'clock Monday morning.
You crammed it in then, did you?
So we sat. You had your tot of rum, 6 of a gill. Yeah. And you got a handsome drop there. Well, you were over the top before we went anywhere else. Now you've been breathalyzed, but that
oh yeah
thing, right? And then to wash it down, you had a pint of Red Barrel in the bar. And then if so-and-so was coming up from the engine room and he was a bit late, you'd have another one waiting for him. So you go out in the car, 3-wheeler, and you go out through Sullivan's Gate. I can't remember the pub on the right-hand side there.
So you basically call in about 5 pubs on the way back.
Oh, yeah. Depending which way you went, see. Because if you had Jan Mosley, I love the old book, he actually drowned in the monsoon ditch in bloody Singapore. But if you had him, he lived in Kingston, but he moved to Torquay. So if you were coming up from Plymouth, if he lived in Torquay, when you got to South Brent,
you cut down through
Dartington and what was the pub called again? Instead of a Kingfisher.
Woodpecker.
From there, into Totnes, have a pint in the Seymour, right? Then out, eventually into the castle. And the guys there used to love us because we were on duty-free tobacco, because I noticed I had to smoke a pipe. And most of the guys smoked a pipe. So all these guys would turn up with the biggest fucking pipe they had in their collection, and for a fill-up. Because it was all Sobrani, you know, you could, at this day and age, you could, Three Nuns, what I used to love was something at Honeydew, Ogden's number 6. But we got those duty free. I mean, 300 fags and then the Blue Liners was selling in sixpence for 300. Right, no wonder most Navy books like me got cancer or lung bloody sucking back on that. But there'd be a queue of these guys saying, "Hello, the Navy, hello again," all tapping at their ashtray and pass your bloody tobacco wallet. Or by the time it came back, you'd never enough to last the fucking weekend. You know, everybody smoked it, and they had enough in there that would last them for the following week, right? So then drop them up and come home here.
Oh, you'd have a few in town then.
Yeah.
Not beside a bar, I suppose.
And then get home here. And the mother would say, "Oh, you blood on the bloody beer, yeah. We're going down to Torquay tonight. So you have a quick kip in the sitting room, have a wash, and because we had no bathrooms back in those days. So down here, there was no. You just have a quick wash and a splash. Get changed as you brought your civvies up with you. We'd be down at Torquay in the evening by about 8:30, 9 o'clock, going into the spa ballroom.
Oh yeah, Marine Spa.
The Marine Spa, whatever.
Yeah.
The bar was there, but by this time we were going down. And then, I just to think of it now, you're driving home again that night. Don't know what we did. Can't remember you done it.
Can't remember it. No, but I expect you could.
No.
Been drinking since bloody 11 o'clock.
I got home one day, my mother in the morning, Sunday morning, she said, "You can take that back." I said, "What's that?" "It's this bloody great dog."
Big China dog.
No, a live one.
Oh, proper dog. Oh,
Yeah.
that's the way they do it.
And in
Bring
Carpenter's
other people's
Arms,
dogs out,
somebody had said, "We want to get rid of this dog." I said, "I'll take it home, it'll be all right." We had this, plus the 4 guys and the 3-wheeler that we lied, and this hinking great, nearly on the size of a bloody, what do you call them again, the mountain dogs, you know, and left it alone.
Not a St Bernard, was it?
No, what is it? What do they call them again? Mastiff.
Huskies?
Mastiff, like a big
Oh
boxer
yeah,
dog.
oh yeah.
Okay. And left it with mother, and when we came back on a Sunday morning, because the house was down there, they know the only small houses.
Yeah.
There's about 6 bloody Matlows in there, sleeping in the lounge on the bloody whatever, and father had to go down somewhere and try and get a few more eggs, because there wasn't any supermarkets, was there? And mother used to cook breakfast for all this bloody 5 of us.
5 of you, you and a dog.
And no, there was some hairy things. No, you shouldn't do it. But the snag wasn't the traffic on the road.
No.
I mean, you could drive, as you said, with your
You
friend.
didn't know you were doing
You
anything
could put a
wrong,
sack
just-
over his head and drive and say,
Yeah, they
say,
did.
turn left,
Yeah.
run on down a bit, right, up the main street, because there was nothing coming the other way.
No.
Nothing.
What was thunder and lightning?
Fortin.
No, no. Norris told me, he said he can't believe that I didn't know what thunder and
No.
lightning was. Do you know what it is?
No.
Do you know what 'tis, Graham? Yes, bloody bread with cream on and golden syrup. He said, have you never had that? I said, no, never.
No.
He couldn't know. I've never heard that expression, thunder and lightning.
No.
I wonder if Mum would have known. No, I've never heard that at all. I tell you what I devoured last night. I shouldn't have had it. I nearly had a whole one. Well, I'll tell you now. Into Sheldon Bakery, is it called, in Newton?
Oh,
God, bloody hell.
ugly buns.
Yeah, no, it wasn't ugly bun. It was a lardy cake.
Oh, I
God,
saw it there.
Jesus
I wonder where
Christ.
it come from.
Yeah, I had 3/4 last night. Oh, it was bloody
me.
beautiful. Because you had all that grease on the bun. Bloody beautiful. I haven't done my sugars today. I thought I'd be flying. That's what. Absolutely beautiful. Do you like lardy cake?
Very
Like a
good.
bit like a dough cake, but with like, well, I suppose this melted lard on the bottom. It's like a sheet of glass. It was bloody beautiful. Mum and Dad would have loved it with a nice bit of butter on it. Absolutely bloody beautiful, wasn't it?
Yeah, it is.
A bit
yeah.
like they ugly buns. They call them ugly buns, and they're like a blown up rock cake, I call it, with bits of currants and lots of cherries. Are very, very nice. I prefer the lardy cake. Not cheap though, but very nice, isn't it?
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, as a teddy boy I was years ago, and I had a white jacket and a little 12-inch bottoms, and proper teddy boy I was. I was when rock and roll come on good and proper, that was. A wonderful time, that was. In the old Cliff Richards days and things like that, like Little Richard and all that lot, and Bill Haley, Rock Around the Clock, and all that. And that was my first wife, that one. But then I got married with Lynn. I taught her how to rock and roll, my second wife, because she's much younger than me. But yeah, she's rock and roll. But oh no, in the years when I was a kid, God gracious, no tie. It was a little Slim Jim you used to have here, and I used to have a white jacket with black things here and black here, right down to my knees here.
Drape coat.
Yeah, and the first coat I ever bought with my wages was a duffel coat. Yeah, I had one of them because that was the in thing in those days. Yeah, we used to go at Somerton in the White Lion, Red Lion up there. Yeah, and we used to dance in their days. They had a hall, and if you used to rock and roll, the floor used to go up and down like this. in this place, I spent a lot of people my age and know exactly what I'm talking about. Because when you used to rock and roll there, you'd fill the floor doing this. But I used to do a lot of jiving and stuff in those days. Yeah. Yeah. I can still do it now. I can still rock and roll now. Not for long, mind. But I can still do it. I still got the. I can still move. I can still move. Lynn, my second wife, always says I got the movement for it. But yeah, I learned Lynn on our lounge in her house to rock and roll. Because Lynn didn't know how to do it. Because she's, like I say, she's 16 years younger than me. So, rock and roll was gone then, wasn't it? In those days, you had mods and rockers, and the mods had scooters, and the rockers had bikes. And I don't know if you remember, but it was all meet in Weston-super-Mare on Easter or something like that. If I remember, and we used to take over Weston-super-Mare, motorbikes, and because we used to hate bloody mopeds, and they used to hate motorbikes in those days. I had little Triumph Tiger Cubs and BSAs. His favourite bike was a Royal Enfield. That was a wonderful bike, that was. Oh, there was always scraps up there, yeah, and always, because like I say, the mods and rockers, we didn't like each other. It was always scraps, but it was just friendly fights and whatever. There's no now these days, all noise, and I would hate to have a fight somewhere now. Because you'd have a knife come out or whatever now, and we used to just get bruised a bit or kicked in the bum or whatever. I'd be frightened to even get in a fight now. It just don't end that way, does it? So, but no, it's always go down there on a Sunday and take over the place. And of course, in those days, there was all these can petticoats that women used to have on and all that in those days. They were wonderful old things. Suspender belts and, well, they were the good old days, mate. Yeah, it went all through everything, really. Rock and roll, all the mods, and then in about the 60s, all these women chucking their bras away and God knows what. And all hell let loose, wasn't it?